Hello and welcome to our options presentation for 2022. It's an interesting time for students as they have the first opportunity ever to make some choices about what GCSEs and other courses they want to follow as they move into year 10. So it's a really important part of their school life, and we're really pleased that you are watching this recording and hope that you'll find it informative. I think the thing that I think is most important when it comes to choosing options is that you have good conversation with your son or daughter and talk to them about what sort of things they're really interested in, because when the students make choices, they'll do much better naturally if they choose subjects that they find interesting and that they think will be useful for them in the future. So it's a really important process, and I'm going to hand over to two colleagues who will tell you more about what's happening. That's Jason Howell, Assistant Head, who is responsible for the whole options process and the timetable, and Sarah Beaton, who is our careers advisor. So I'll hand over to them and they will talk you through the process.
Hi, this presentation will be given to the Year 9 students in an assembly on Tuesday afternoon, in addition to them being able to watch this recording. I'll start by handing over to Sarah Beaton, who's our dedicated careers advisor, who will just say a few things about how students might go about discussing their options with you and with teachers and the important things to consider.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Sarah Beaton. Congratulations, first of all, to Year 9, having reached this exciting stage of their education journey, starting to think about their key stage 4 options. I just want to say, really, they may have some ideas about what they want to do in the future, or they may have no ideas at all. But the most important thing is to make choices which will enable them to suit their abilities and interests and allow them to keep their options open. The GCSE qualifications that students study when they're in year 10 and 11 are studied over 2 years, with final exams taking place in year 11. And after choosing their GCSE options and completing their qualifications, school students are able to decide whether they want to stay on at sixth form to study A-levels or a level 3 subject, or whether they would like to go to college to complete a vocational course, or even start working and learning by completing an apprenticeship. Students have to stay in some form of educational training until they're 18. And when it comes to looking for a job, most employers will look at their GCSE qualifications to see whether the subjects they've studied are relevant to the type of work that they do. Although every job is different, most companies expect you to have at least 5 GCSEs, including maths, English and science from grades 4 and above. But as you go on to gain higher qualifications such as A-levels or a degree, employers tend to pay less attention to your GCSEs. Next slide, please. So parents and carers, you have a huge impact on the career decisions made by your sons and daughters, so please do encourage them to thoroughly research option subjects, enabling them to make informed choices. Options time is a good opportunity to begin to discuss their future career ideas and encourage them to research these further. I'll show you some websites to help you with this later in the presentation. Please also encourage your sons and daughters to begin to think about their post-16 options, whether they would like to stay on at sixth form or go to college or complete an apprenticeship, and even starting to think whether they may consider going to university. It's also very important to encourage your sons and daughters to continue to develop their employability skills. These skills can be gained by studying a range of subjects in school, as well as by participating in a range of out-of-school hobbies, interests and work experience. Having an awareness of the skills they are beginning to develop will definitely help when applying for apprenticeships, further education and university. Next slide, please. GCSEs are a good general preparation for further education and future employment. And students, you need to start to think about the subjects you enjoy, the subjects you're good at, as well as the style of learning you prefer. You'll be able to choose some of your GCSE courses, but there are some compulsory GCSE subjects that make up the core curriculum. These are English literature and English language, mathematics, Science could be combined science or 3 separate sciences. Society and ethics, physical education, information and guidance careers. Next slide, please. Studying a range of subjects at this stage is very useful. It will help to ensure you have a wide range of study and career options open to you later on. Your compulsory core subjects will offer you a broad base of subjects forming solid foundations for your future career. However, don't drop the following subjects if you might want to learn more about these in sixth form or college later on. So art-based subjects, technology, geography, languages or music. Begin to talk to subject teachers about the course content and workload. Find out about how much of the qualification is coursework based or exam based and see if this subject will play to your strengths. Begin to look ahead. Think about the job you might like to do or the kind of work environment you eventually want to be in, as this could inform your option choices. Next slide, please. Things to consider when choosing your post-16 options. You could start to check the GCSE subjects and grades required to stay on at sixth form, or go to college or to complete an apprenticeship. To stay on at sixth form, the minimum requirements are 7 GCSEs, 5 at grade 4, plus 2 at grade 5 and above. To go to college, to do a level 3 vocational course, you need a minimum of 4 to 5 GCSEs at grades 4 to 5 and above. And to do a level 2 vocational course at college, you would need to achieve a minimum of 4 GCSEs at grade 3. For apprenticeships, many employers look for 4 or 5 GCSEs at grades 4 and above, often to include maths and English. Next slide, please. So don't worry if you don't have an idea of what kind of job you want to do. You'll still have a wide range of career choice if you take a mixture of subjects across a range of disciplines, as these will keep your options open. However, you can begin to generate career suggestions linked to your skills and interests by completing the Spartan test on SACU. And you could begin to research what different careers involve by checking the job profiles on the National Career Service website and the Prospects website. If you can, talk to someone who works in the line of work that might interest you, as this can be really helpful, as you can find out exactly what the job involves. If you're thinking about going to university, you can even start to research degree courses and look at the entry requirements and work back from there. So to research degree courses, you would need to look at ucas.com. Next slide, please. And finally, to summarise, options choice isn't a decision to rush. So if you're feeling unsure, talk to teachers and older students. Research subjects and potential jobs that they might lead to and feel prepared ahead of making your choices. Think about your future study or career plans. And if you don't have a particular career or degree course in mind, ensure you keep your option choices broad and balanced. And most importantly of all, consider what subjects you enjoy and are good at. And make the most of options evening to speak to subject teachers about the subject content. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. I'm just now going to run through some key points about the curriculum next year and in year 11, and also then consider the various option pathways that students can follow and the subjects available, and then finish with an explanation and guidance on how students can actually go about making their option choices, the actual mechanics of choosing the subjects and submitting those choices. Okay, key dates. I suppose there's one missing off there, and that's tomorrow, where the students will get this presentation in an assembly, and they'll also be able to access, along with this recording of the presentation, all of the subject videos where subjects summarise what's involved in those options, along with subject flyers that they can read to get some extra information. That will all be on the website. And with links that will be sent to students and parents. On Thursday, as you know, you've been making appointments to see core teachers, English, science and maths. and also making appointments with teachers of the various option subjects that you might be interested in studying. I remember those discussions are for considering about choosing that subject for GCSE, etc., not really for discussing the progress currently. Following the event on Thursday, the options system will become live for students and parents to select those options, but the deadline's not until Monday the 28th, and that's to allow a little bit of time for students and parents to discuss and make the right choices. Over the following few months, there'll be a lot of work where we try to timetable and accommodate all of the various combinations and deal with subjects that are perhaps undersubscribed, oversubscribed, etc., and making sure that students are choosing the correct pathway and the correct subjects for them. And that process does take a long time, and we invest heavily in it to make sure that those choices are correct. And hopefully by July, possibly a little bit before then, students will get confirmation of the options choices that they have. Okay. Just a little bit about the distinction between GCSEs, which are now all graded 9 to 1. They've all moved from the old letter grading to 9 to 1, and more about that in a second. They're largely based on exams, with some subjects having a 20% usually NEA assessment. There are some GCSE equivalents. These are level 2 qualifications, and they're graded with distinction star down to pass, both at level 1 and level 2. And they have a combination of exams and NEAs, which are often more balanced, often 50-50. Back to the GCSE grades, the 9 to 1. This is a sort of ready reckoner where you can translate the old letter grades into the new 9 to 1 grades and vice versa. I think it's worth pointing out the standard pass of a C is equivalent to a 4, but there's this other definition of a good pass being a 5. So 4 is often the minimum, but 5 is considered what you should be aiming for, and certainly some universities and some employers are pitching that as their minimum requirement. And so you can use that table just to translate between the two. Onto the idea of levels, because I mentioned level 1 and level 2. That just defines those levels. So level 2, 9 to 4, level 1, 3 to 1, and then there's entry level below that grade 1. 3 subjects, that's maths, languages and science, have tiered entry for the exams. So at some point in year 11, there'll be a confirmation with the student as to which tier of entry they're going to take, and the papers are different, and it shows for the foundation the highest you can get is a 5, whereas with higher the lowest you can get is a 4. So it's quite important to make sure you choose the right paper to make sure you get access to the grades of which you're capable, but also not to take the higher paper if there's a danger that you'll fall off and not get anything if you fall below a 4. Those decisions to come. The GCSE equivalents have their own grading scale, which translates approximately to what I've got there. So a level 2 pass is equivalent to a 4, which is the standard pass on the GCSE grades, and so on. Okay, let's move on. The GCSE equivalents, these are subjects that are offered as options. They are offered at level 1 and level 2, and therefore are equivalent to GCSEs. They're at the same level. They give access to the same value of grade, and we've got 5 of those are in that category. And remember, the main difference is that they have a bit more of a balance between the coursework and the exam elements. So you've got child development, creative art media, enterprise and marketing, performing arts, and sports science. A little bit about the core curriculum, just before we move into the options structure. There are 8 lessons a fortnight, so the numbers in brackets are lessons over the 2-week timetable. So 8 lessons a fortnight for English, English literature. In year 10, you'll take the English literature GCSE, and in year 11, you'll take the English language GCSE. Maths have got 7. Science, and more of science in a second, which is worth 2 GCSEs. There's 11 lessons a fortnight, 1 period for society and ethics, and 3 for PE. Onto the science. This is a change this year to previous years. All students will have those 11 lessons spread across biology, chemistry, and physics. And even though 11 doesn't divide by 3, over the 2 years it equals out. And they'll have separate teachers for each of those 3 sciences. And students, if they only follow that combined science course, will come out with the 2 GCSEs in the combined science trilogy qualification. And therefore will have 2 grades. They might be the same, like a 7-7, or if you're halfway between a 7-7 and a 6-6, then you can get a grade which is split. So a 6-5 is halfway between a 6-6 and a 5-5. So they're worth 2 GCSEs. And as I said earlier, there's foundation and higher level entry. If you wish to follow the separate sciences pathway, you need to do that through the options. So that will be as one of your options. You'd have to take 3 of your options, 1 for biology, 1 for chemistry, 1 for physics. They'll all be taught within that 1 option choice. The reason we've done that is because the content is very significant in the separate sciences, and to give students the time and the space to explore that properly, not just to cover the extra content, but also to explore the skills and the knowledge in more depth. We've put that into the options. And again, that's got higher and foundation level entry. It's really, really worth pointing out the thing at the bottom, and that is regardless of whether you choose separate sciences in the options or whether you just do the combined science, whichever pathway you follow with science, what determines whether you can do A-level is the grade you get. Okay, so we'll teach the A-levels from the basis that students have covered the combined science, and it's down to the grade that will get you onto the science A-level courses. Okay, optional pathways. There are 2 overall pathways. There's the level 1 college pathway, and that is followed by a small number of students in the year, less than about 10%. The vast majority will follow the 4 option pathway. On the level 1 college pathway, 1 morning a week, it'll be Thursday in year 10 this year coming up, you'll spend either at college or in school, depending on which option you choose, following a level 1 course, and I'll describe those in a second. And you take 2 GCSEs or equivalent courses in your options. So you take 1 college level 1 option and then 2 GCSEs or equivalent, plus you get some extra lessons in English and maths to support those vital GCSEs. As I said, the majority of students will follow the 4 option pathway, and in this you choose, as the name suggests, 4 GCSEs or equivalents. One of those must be, at least one of them must be French, German, history or geography, and that's common across the country. Students may also choose to make sure that they qualify for the EBAC, which is a sort of basket of subjects, which must include a language. It must include either geography or history, and then 2 other subjects. So if you want to tick the box for the EBAC, which is valued by universities and is considered to be a collection of challenging academic subjects, then you need to choose a language plus geography or history in addition to your others. At least 1 out of each of those. Okay, back to the level 1 college pathway. The level 1 college course typically, and I underline that because we are a little bit at the mercy of Warwickshire College Group, but the intention is to offer, as we have done in previous years, animal care, animal welfare course, horticulture, which takes place in school, in Pershore School, and motor vehicle. So the animal welfare and the motor vehicle, students will go out in a minibus on Thursday mornings each week to follow that course there. The horticultural students will stay in school and use our brilliant facilities to follow that course. You'll take 2 other optional GCSEs or equivalent, as I've mentioned. You get the extra help with English and maths. And as I said, there's a small number of students follow this pathway because it's most appropriate for them and gives them the right curriculum. And that's where students have got targets of 3 and below generally. And I'll say more on how we determine which students follow that shortly. There is limited availability. There's only so many places on the minibus, and there's only so many places which the colleges are able to accommodate. Students who do take these do often progress on to take the level 2 course at the same college, and it's a very valuable provision for them, and it's proved very successful in the past. If you wish to be considered for that, then you must talk to me, okay? Because as I'll show you later, I need to set the settings up for you so that you can make the correct choices on that pathway. But you have to have that conversation with me first. Okay. If you are on the level 1 college pathway, when you come to the options, SIMS options online, and I'll explain about how you get there shortly, you will see this screen. There are 2 lists. There's the level 1 college list, and this is GCSE or equivalent list. The level 1 college list is worth 2 subjects. So if you choose, as this student has, motor vehicle, then that's worth 2 options because it's in lieu of 2 GCSE or equivalents. So you pick 1 out of from those 3, and then you pick 2 subjects from the list below and 1 reserve. So this student has got 3 ticks in the green boxes because they've picked their level 1 college course, they've picked 2 from the second list, and they've picked a reserve from that list as well. Okay, students will figure this out, but basically you click on the name of the subject and it goes blue. If you click it again, when it's blue, it goes back to grey. If you click the reserve box next to it, it goes this orangey colour. If you click the orangey colour, it goes to blue, and then you click it again, it goes back to grey. So you can change your mind and go backwards and forwards, and it's pretty user friendly. There is a panel to the right which summarises your choices, and I'll show you that in a second. It just didn't fit on the screen neatly. Okay, so you make your choices. Onto the 4-option pathway. One of the guiding principles here with any set of options is that you should follow a broad and balanced curriculum. You've got to think about which subjects you enjoy, because you're going to be studying them for 2 years, what interests you, but also try to give a range of skills. Don't pick things which are all the same. Have at least one in there which is perhaps pushing you into something that you're not naturally brilliant at, and therefore adds to your skill base. There's some more details there about the EBAC, the English Baccalaureate, which is a sort of wrapper of a collection of subjects, and again it just outlines the requirements that you would need to make sure you qualify for that. Okay. Should you be on the 4-option pathway, which for the majority of students this will be what they see, you've again got 2 lists, and to get your tick in the green box, you'd pick 1 subject from the top list. So that's the compulsory French, German, geography or history. Don't worry if you want to pick more than one of those, because you can in the second list. There's a little warning on the subjects below, which are in the first list, telling you that they're also available there. And there's a little warning to tell this student that they've picked German in their list 1, so they can't pick it again in list 2. Okay, so it sort of safeguards people picking the same subject twice. The system works exactly in the same way. You click the subject name, it goes blue. You click the reserve button, it goes orange, and then you can rotate round and change your mind. Okay, you'll notice that there's a slightly larger selection of subjects in list 2 for the 4-option pathway. That's really for timetabling purposes. If the college pathway with their college option restricting where those other subjects can go in the timetable were to have the full range, it would be very, very awkward. So there's a restricted range of subjects which are most suitable for that pathway. Okay, I said there was a panel on the right-hand side which appears, and this is what it looks like. As you start clicking, the subjects appear in the order that you click them, both in terms of your main subject and your reserves. I'll come to the importance of reserves in a second. Please do not leave them out. Obviously, because you clicked the French one first in list one, sorry, that's appeared at the top. If you want to change this order of preference, and this is important, then it's very easy to do. You just follow the instructions. So if I wanted to put history second, I'd click on history, and then I'd click on position number 2, and it would move history up to position number 2. Remembering that your French, German, history or geography, if you've only got one of them, has to be in there. I will look at the order of preference when I'm trying to accommodate everyone's subject choices. So if there's a combination of subjects that a student's picked that really won't fit into the option blocks, then I will look at their 4th choice as being the least important and the one that I will try to replace with one of their reserves. So again, the order of preference of your reserves is really, really important, because if I can't accommodate this student's choice of history, then I'll look to put technology in there instead. So my objective is to get all students to have all 4 of their main choices. Failing that, their 3 most preferable subjects with their first choice reserve. And there is a bit of negotiation that goes on as I start to try to finalize those. So it's really important to get the order of preference right and the reserves correct with the order of preference. If you don't put reserves down and your subjects don't fit, I'll be coming to ask you for reserves anyway. So please put them down. Underneath the place where you've chosen your subjects, you scroll down, you'll see 2 boxes, one for student comments, and it's worth pointing out at this point, the only person that can make the choices, that can click those subjects on the previous slide and make them go blue and orange, is the student. And then the student can add comments at the bottom, perhaps explaining their choice or emphasizing the importance of a particular subject for them, etc. The box below that can't be completed by the student, can only be completed by the parent or the carer. And this, I'm afraid, parents and carers, is the only bit that you can actually enter data in. You can put a comment here, should you wish, and you can tick your approval to show that, yes, you've discussed these choices with your son or daughter, and yeah, you think they are the right thing. What you can't do is go and choose them for them. Okay, but the parent carer approval box is there to encourage that conversation to take place, to make sure that the parents are part of that decision making. But students, it's you that clicks those subjects. Your parents can't do it for you. Okay, right. It's really worth pointing out that I cannot possibly accommodate every single combination of subjects that students might choose. So there will be some students, and it's a smallish number, maybe around 10 each year, that have to have their subject choice tweaked a little bit. There might be some subjects that are oversubscribed. We try to put on more classes where that's possible, but with staffing restrictions, etc., that might not be a possibility. And so therefore, some students might have to change for that reason. There can be a situation where a subject doesn't get enough interest, and therefore we can't run it. That's quite rare, but it can happen. Reserve subjects, as I said, are essential, and as is the preference order. Please put attention and thought into those. Where the subjects don't quite fit, senior member of staff, usually me, will be sitting down with the student to discuss some options. Okay. I'll never change a student's options without discussing first. Right, on to the registration process. Later on this week, probably Wednesday or Thursday, you will receive an email invitation, students and parents separately. And if you click on that invitation, it will take you through a sign-in process, which has changed a little bit. So forgive me if these things are slightly out of order. You might, as a student, be able to sign in directly with your Microsoft account, which is basically your school email and password, or it might insist you set up a Sims account. Follow through the instructions. It's pretty straightforward. It pre-populates the invitation code when you click on the email invitation. Click register, and then to prove it to you, it knows your date of birth, and you put that in and click verify. And then it should allow you to log in and go to the Sims options screen, which you saw earlier. When you go for subsequent logins, don't use the link on the email, because that's just a registration link. Use this link down here, the simsoptions.co.uk, and that will take you back to the subject page, and you can change your options and edit them, etc. Up until when the deadline is, at which point I will stop access, and any changes will need to come directly through me. Okay, parents, it's very similar. You get the opportunity, I think, to use a Twitter account, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Office 365, whatever it is you have, or create a Sims account if you wish. I don't think you need to, though. I think that's again true this year, so you can just use one of the others. It will check to see that you are who you say you are by asking you for your son or daughter's date of birth. It's not your date of birth, it's the student's date of birth. So please don't fall foul of that. And again, subsequent logins, you go on that same link, simsoptions.co.uk. And a reminder that you can see the choices that your son and daughter's made once they've made them. So you can check that they have done it, and you give your approval by ticking the box and adding a comment should you wish. Okay, so a summary here about the process. You decide on your pathway. If you're considering the level 1 college pathway, talk to me or your head of house, who'll be able to give you some guidance on whether that's suitable. You register with Options Online by clicking on the invitation email. If you don't seem to have got one of those, or it goes wrong, let me know. You make your choices, you get your parental approval. So what do you have to do now? First of all is don't rush. There is no advantage of early submission. I won't give any preference to students who get it in within the first 5 minutes, any more than I will someone who gets it in on the 27th of February. You need to think carefully, talk to the teachers, as Mrs. Beaton said, discuss students with your parents, choose the best pathway for you, not following your friends. Don't think because your friends are taking a particular subject, you must take that subject. The chances are you won't be in the same class with them anyway, because a lot of these options have more than one class. So make decisions for the right reasons. As I said, the deadline's Monday the 28th, so you've got plenty of time. You can make changes on options online up until that point when I'll close it off. But you can make changes by coming and seeing me, emailing me, subject to the timetable and space. So right up until the end of September, some students are making changes because they realise they picked the wrong thing. If it fits in the timetable, the space in the classes, absolutely fine. But there is that restriction. Okay, so thank you very much. Hopefully that's explained things clearly. Any issues, please get in touch with me. My email is jh@pershore.worcester.sch.uk. All the subject videos and flyers are on the links on the same page as this presentation, and I hope the process goes smoothly for you. Thank you.